Hey, good morning, fam church. Just wanted to put out a correction from yesterday's message. If you were here or listening, you're aware that, or maybe you're not, but there was several mistakes during the message. It doesn't change the content of what was said. However, Dana was kind enough yesterday to tell me that I got a bunch of stuff wrong. And so I figured I should issue a correction on that just so that it doesn't confuse anybody. And the first thing I want to talk about is in regards to Judah. I'd made the comment that Judah had married Tamar, the daughter-in-law that he had slept with because he thought she was a prostitute. Judah never married Tamar. She married so let's just clarify Tamar here. Okay, so Tamar married and then died. He was a bad person. God took him out. Then she married Judah's other son, Onan. Well, he died as well. And so Judah had one more son left that this woman Tamar was supposed to marry, as the law had prescribed, as God had prescribed, because the wives whose spouse had deceased, the brothers were responsible to give them children, and Judah was concerned that this son was going to die too if he married Tamar. It was like the Black Widow or something. He thought this woman was the Black Widow, I guess. And so he withheld the third son from her and didn't allow her to marry him. And so that's where all of the drama with Judah happened. And so Judah never had relations with this woman at all. He never married this woman. And so that's the first thing that we got to clarify. And then I'd mentioned that Judah was the firstborn, and that was incorrect as well, that Judah was the firstborn of the sons of Jacob. And he was not the firstborn of the sons of Jacob, okay? The firstborn was Reuben, okay? And Reuben lost the birthright because he decided he was going to sleep with his father's concubines. If you don't know what a concubine is, it's just women that they kept around at the time for the husband to have a little fun with, if you know what I mean. And so Judah got really, let's get all these J names. Jacob got really upset when he found out that Reuben had slept with his concubines, and so he removed the birthright from him, and then he gave it to his second-born son, Simeon. Well, Simeon's story is this. They had a sister, and this sister's name was Dinah, and Dinah started hanging out with the locals, something that they weren't supposed to do. So Dinah's hanging out with the locals, and what ends up happening is the king's son takes a liking to her. Well, the king's son decided that he's going to rape Dinah, and so he rapes Dinah, and then they go to Jacob, and they ask to marry he wants to marry Jacob's daughter after he raped her. Well, the two brothers, number secondborn Simeon and thirdborn Levi, find out about this, and they're pretty ticked that their sister got raped. So they come up with this plan on how to kill this whole city. And so that's what they do, is they execute their plan, and they kill everyone in the city because of what the king's son had done. And so because they had blood on their hands and they had done this, they were no longer eligible to be or to receive the birthright. And so the birthright then fell to the fourth person in line, which was Judah. Okay, and so Judah inherited that birthright because of the failures of his three brothers before him. And then Reuben, he's an interesting guy because he tried to gain his birthright back, and that happened in the story which we read. We've been reading the last couple of weeks by rescuing Joseph from the pit. And it says in chapter 27 of Genesis, verses 21 and 22, it tells us that little story where Reuben, he went with his brothers to throw Joseph into the pit, but then his plan was to come back and rescue Joseph from the pit, go to his father, tell his father what the other brothers were doing in hopes to gain his father's favor once again and to get that birthright restored. And so that's the story there of these brothers, okay? And so that's what I wanted to clarify for you all. It was just really a hot mess when Dana started telling me all the stuff that I got wrong. And so I decided I should probably post a video for everyone out there. Not that everyone's going to see it, but just to let you know what actually took place and how I got the history all messed up there. It was so funny because yesterday during the message, what happened was I hit that part in my message and my mind went blank. I couldn't remember anything. And I was just like, oh no. And that doesn't always happen. I didn't think it was going to happen yesterday because I drank a Bang energy drink, which says it's there for your mind power, the kind that I drank yesterday. And so I expected my mind to be extra on fire yesterday, but it didn't work. And so I totally butchered that whole section. And so just so you know, that's the clarification on the text that I was talking about yesterday, especially when it comes to Judah, why he got the birthright, and what happened with Judah in his life. And so it doesn't change any of the application that I put out yesterday. I just wanted to I didn't want people walking away going, what just happened? What is he talking about? Or even worse yet, people who've never read the story of the sons of Jacob giving out misinformation or incorrect information. And so that's the correction. I apologize, and have a great week. And we'll see you back here next Sunday, or this coming Sunday, where we are going to be for our annual business meeting. And we're going to have a message